The morning sun had barely risen over Victoria Island, Lagos, when Jessica Adeyemi hurried out of her luxury apartment complex. Her Louboutin heels clicked against the marble floor of the lobby as she checked her watch. 5:45 a.m. Perfect timing for another busy day at First Capital Bank, where she served as the deputy managing director. Maxwell Adeyemi watched from their bedroom window as his wife's black Mercedes disappeared through the security gates. 10 years of marriage, and this had become their routine. The distance between them grew with each promotion Jessica received, each late night at the office, each missed dinner. At 45, Maxwell had built his real estate development company from scratch, becoming one of Lagos' most successful property developers. But success meant little when his home felt empty, despite the expensive furnishings and imported decorations that filled their 3-bedroom apartment. "Good morning, sir," a soft voice called from the doorway. It was Favor, their 23-year-old housemaid from Calabar, who had joined their household 6 months ago. "Should I serve your breakfast now?" Maxwell nodded, adjusting his navy blue suit. "Yes, please." In the dining room, Favor had come highly recommended by Maxwell's sister, who knew her family from church. She was hardworking, efficient, and brought a warmth to the house that had been missing for years. Her presence made the apartment feel less like a hotel and more like a home. As weeks passed, Maxwell found himself looking forward to their morning conversations over breakfast. Favor would serve his favorite meals, perfectly made akara and yam porridge, or delicious egg sauce with fresh bread, and they would discuss everything from politics to family life. She listened attentively to his business challenges, offering surprisingly insightful perspectives that reminded him of Jessica in their early days. Jessica's absence became more pronounced against Favor's constant presence. While Favor kept the house immaculate and ensured Maxwell never missed a meal, Jessica's side of the closet gathered dust. Their weekly date nights had dwindled to occasional quick dinners where Jessica would be distracted by work calls or emails. "I'm building this career for us," Jessica would say whenever Maxwell brought up the declining relationship. "For our future, for the family we'll have someday." But that someday seemed increasingly distant. At 42, Jessica was still focused on climbing the corporate ladder, postponing their plans for children. Maxwell's suggestions about starting a family were met with spreadsheets about education costs and long-term financial planning. One evening, after another lonely dinner, Maxwell found Favor in the kitchen preparing for the next day. She was singing softly, a Christian worship song that reminded him of his mother. Something about the scene, the domesticity of it, made his heart ache. "Sir," Favor said, noticing his presence. "I made some Chapman. Would you like a glass?" They sat on the balcony, watching Lagos traffic crawl below while sharing the refreshing drink. Favor spoke about her dreams of going to university, of studying business administration. Her eyes sparkled with ambition, but unlike Jessica's corporate drive, Favor's dreams included family and balance. "My mother always said a woman can have it all," Favor mused, "but not all at once. There's time for everything under heaven." The wisdom in her words struck Maxwell. When had Jessica last spoken about anything beyond quarterly targets and board meetings? As months passed, Maxwell found himself increasingly drawn to Favor's simple wisdom and genuine care. She represented everything his marriage had lost: warmth, presence, understanding. But Maxwell was a man of principle, raised with strong Christian values. He recognized the dangerous path his thoughts were taking. One Saturday morning, Maxwell made a decision. Instead of heading to the office as usual, he waited for Jessica to wake up. It was one of the rare weekends she wasn't working. "We need to talk," he said, sitting on their bed. Jessica looked up from her phone, where she'd already been checking emails. "Can it wait? I have a presentation to prepare for Monday." "No," Maxwell said firmly. "It can't wait. Our marriage can't wait anymore." What followed was a 4-hour conversation that should have happened years ago. Maxwell spoke about his loneliness, his unfulfilled dreams of fatherhood, his fear that they were becoming strangers who shared an address. Jessica, for the first time in years, really listened. "I've been blind," she finally admitted, tears streaming down her face. "I thought I was building our future, but I've been destroying our present." That same evening, Maxwell called his sister. We need to find another position for Favor, he said. Perhaps in your company's administrative department. She wants to study business administration. His sister understood immediately. I'll take care of it. You take care of your marriage. The following weeks brought significant changes. Jessica delegated more responsibilities at work and made it home by 7 p.m. most days. They reinstated the date nights, this time without phones or work discussions. They began seeing a marriage counselor who helped them rebuild their communication. Favor accepted the job offer at Maxwell's sister's company, along with a scholarship to study part-time at the university. Before she left, she thanked Maxwell and Jessica for everything. You taught me that success means nothing without balance, she said wisely. I'll remember that in my own journey. As Maxwell watched Favor leave, he felt grateful, not for the temptation she had represented, but for the wake-up call her presence had provided. She had inadvertently held up a mirror to his marriage, showing him what needed to be fixed before it was too late. 6 months later, Maxwell and Jessica sat in the doctor's office, holding hands as they received the news they'd been waiting for. Jessica was pregnant. As they drove home, Jessica touched her stomach gently. You know what's funny, she said. All those years, I thought I was sacrificing our present for a better future. But the future I wanted was right here all along, waiting for me to notice it. Maxwell squeezed her hand, thinking about how close they'd come to losing everything. Sometimes, he realized, the greatest test of love isn't avoiding temptation, it's choosing to repair what's broken instead of seeking comfort elsewhere. That evening, as they sat on their balcony watching the sunset over Lagos, Maxwell thought about Favor. She was doing well in her studies and had recently gotten engaged to a young pastor. Her presence in their lives had been both a test and a blessing, teaching them that the true measure of success isn't in bank accounts or corporate titles, but in the strength of the bonds we choose to nurture. Jessica rested her head on his shoulder, her free hand cradling her small baby bump. No words were needed. They had chosen each other, chosen to fight for their marriage, chosen to rebuild what time and ambition had eroded. In the end, that choice made all the difference. The story serves as a reminder that marriages require constant nurturing, that career success shouldn't come at the cost of personal relationships, and that sometimes, the greatest threats to a relationship aren't dramatic affairs but the slow drift of negligence. It's also a testament to the power of choice, choosing to repair rather than replace, to face problems rather than seek escape, and to remember that love, while natural in its feeling, is ultimately an active choice we must make every day. For Maxwell and Jessica, the journey wasn't about the temptation Favor represented, but about the wake-up call her presence provided. In the end, they learned that true success lies not in the absence of challenges, but in how we choose to face them together.